Hey, what's up guys? Dex here with a quick deck profile video of my Isabelle build. I've been asked a couple of times to share the list I've been playing with in the recent videos I've posted, so here it is. First off, I of course played the new Isabelle at 4. She's the main centerpiece of the deck and pretty much what makes everything works. Manipulating the top 3 cards of your deck every single turn is so valuable to the deck since it helps you set up your lottery plays while also setting up your draft checks. With her, gone are the days of relying on RNG to draw, mill, and drive check the right cards. She's basically a huge consistency booster in terms of card quality you get off of the used abilities and your drive checks. Her second ability also helps cover 2 of the old build's main weaknesses, which were most of your units being locked behind come into play abilities and not being able to reach high numbers without front triggers. For a single counterblast, she gives 10k to the current front row units and activates a come into play ability of one of the units on the field, which includes herself. This means you can manipulate the top 3 at least once per turn if you don't rewrite and direct her own ability on herself. This opens up a lot of plays and possibilities depending on what you foresee getting, how deep you can go into your deck with the units and resources you currently have, and if you have the possibility of rerolling your deck with Mini Belly. Speaking of which, considering how important the new Isabelle is to the strategy of the deck, I decided to play 4 Mini Belly to increase the chances of getting her early. However, as I said before, he has another purpose as a free reroll with its mandatory shuffle when we don't like what we foresaw with Isabelle's ability. This is a nice way to indirectly contribute to the strategy of the deck on top of being a solid 30k booster, searching for your main grade 3 as well as your hardest hitting rearguard in your deck, Old Isabelle. Old Isabelle is also played at 4 because of how important she is to the deck. As you probably already know, the lottery deck has a huge resource problem with counterblasts, and Isabelle using soul instead of counters to use a lottery makes the management much more bearable. Not only that, she's now used as your hardest hitting rearguard now that we don't have to keep her in hand to ride her next turn. On top of hitting 27k by herself and drawing us a card, if you factor in Lacquer Isabelle's 10k buff to the front row and a potential grade 1 boosting her, she can reach very high numbers easily. Now that we have the numbers, it's time to make them count. The new Isabelle already gives us a front trigger during our turn, and units like Old Isabelle and Binoculars Tiger already made us draw a tons of cards in the earlier lottery days. The only real thing that's missing now is the pressure from making those big attacks count. That was my reasoning behind going 12 crits and 4 heals. The mix of going 12 crits and Isabelle's ability to manipulate or drive checks makes the deck a constant threat the moment the opponent reaches 3 damage and makes your turns much more offensively devastating. Add to that the possibility of making these huge attacks unblockable with Monoculus Tiger, and we have ourselves a very scary offensive deck. Monoculus Tiger is so good now that we have the numbers to make his God Restrict actually matter. I started playing only 3 of him until I realized that he was a unit I wanted to see more often than not. Whether your opponent is at 3, 4, or 5 damages, he can be a constant threat thanks to the 12 crits in the deck. I've stolen many games with him, and I wouldn't play less of him in this particular build. The other cards in the deck are pretty self-explanatory. Binoculars Tiger is still your most valuable rearguard when it comes to raw value and card advantage. Barcode Zebra, like before, is a great rearguard to have on the side while the other classmates do their things. I've tried other units like Amico and Snackwell in his place, but their need for a counterblast makes it so that they are most of the time dead or cloggy when you draw them late game. The fact that Barcode Zebra doesn't require counterblast makes him the perfect unit for this specific spot and the deck. The last recurring unit from the old build is Keltuken that I play at 3. I'm honestly still playing around with this spot, but so far, I like him at 3. I like the fact that, paired with Mini Belly, my back row is almost always filled with 13k boosters when I don't have a Monoculus column set up. I also wanted to see how useful his bounce ability would be with the new Isabelle. Being able to call an extra Isabelle on rearguard to use a foresight, and then bouncing her back with Skulltuken to secure your rewrite was the play I had in mind, but that didn't happen very often, sadly. Nonetheless, he's still a very versatile unit that can come in handy more often than not. Finally, there's the 2 new lottery units the set gave us, Love Daughter and Ringtail. I played Daughter at 4 as it's basically a light version of the old Isabelle. Having a total of 8 units in the deck that can attack for over 23k by itself makes it so that it's way more consistent at creating power plays every turn. As for Ringtail, I only play her at 2 for now, but as I said, I'm still messing around with her and Toucan Spot. Ringtail is a light version of Binoculars Tiger, but because the deck already uses a lot of counterblast for better effects, she's most of the time a vanilla unit on the field. I feel like until we get our promo that countercharges, she's a bit limited. She's still a great backup if you don't have the Binoculars Tiger, and comes in handy in matchups where retiring opposing rear guards is important. I found that she does her job well enough at 2 copies for now. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This is the deck I've been playtesting for the past month, and I have to say I'm very pleased with how it performed. If you want to see it in action, be sure to check out the match videos I uploaded. So yeah, that's it for me today guys. I'll talk to you guys in the next video.